A developer in Surrey listed 30 brand new condos all at once, and the price was 15 to 20% below what they were originally asking. And within hours of that listing going public, 50 different buyer groups reached out. Not within a week, that was within hours. And that wasn't even a one-off. The same firm handling that deal immediately got a call about 18 more units from a developer in East Vancouver. This is what Vancouver condo market looks like right now. Developers who spent years building towers are quietly, sometimes very quietly, trying to exit as fast as they can. And the way they are doing it is telling us something important about where the market actually is. Because here's what I want you to stick around for. I'm going to show you a number later in this video. One specific data point about where Metro Vancouver sits right now that most homeowners in this province have genuinely never seen. And I think it is going to change how you think about your next move. So let's get into it. There are 5,400 brand new condos sitting empty in Vancouver and they don't show up anywhere on the MLS. So first, let me explain something most people don't realize. When you look at real estate board data, the new listing numbers, the sales total, months of inventory, none of that includes developer inventory. Developers don't have to report a thing. They are essentially the Wild West of data. So there is this massive pile of unsold condos out there. It is called shadow inventory. There are units that exist, completed, finished, and sitting empty. But they don't show up on any official listing site. They are being held back privately by the developer waiting for the right moment to release. According to Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, about 2,500 newly built condos were sitting vacant and unsold across Metro Vancouver as of late 2025. But according to data from Rennie and Associates, by December 2025, that number had climbed to over 5,400 completed unsold units, nearly matching the all-time record set back in December 1995. Think about that for a second. Vancouver in 2025, a city that spent the better part of 2 decades being called the hottest real estate market in North America, had as many unsold completed condos as it did in 1995. And it is concentrated in specific places: Brentwood, Willoughby Heights in Langley, Surrey Central, which is honestly the hardest hit area of all of them. Surrey Central alone has hundreds of tiny investor grade condos sitting unsold. Developers who were pre-selling those units at $1,200 to $1,350 a square foot 2 years ago are now facing a reality where they are getting anywhere from $800 to $900 per square feet. You don't need a calculator to know. The math doesn't work on those condos anymore. President of Rennie called this the highest level of developer-owned unsold inventory in 24 years. And Vancouver accounts for 28.7% of all unsold completed homes in the entire country, despite being a fraction of the size of Toronto. That's not a footnote. That's the core of the problem. Now, how did we get there? Because this didn't happen overnight and it didn't happen by accident. 3 things drove these crises and they all hit at the same time. The first was dirt cheap interest rates from 2020 to 2022. Money was basically free. Developers were borrowing aggressively. Investors were buying aggressively. And fear of missing out, pure pandemic era FOMO, was doing the rest. I had clients getting help from family and friends just so they could have any chance of getting into the market. Projects were launching almost monthly. Everyone thought prices would go up forever. The pre-sale pricing got completely disconnected from reality. Developers were always pricing at a projected future value, what they thought the unit would be worth when the building finished years later. And for a long time, that worked because prices always went up. But those future values never materialized. The market went the other direction. And the third factor, and this one's important, is that the entire pre-sale ecosystem was built for investors, not end users. Think about what an investor wants in a condo. Small, cheap to build, low entry price, high rental potential, easy to flip. So we ended up shoe boxes selling at luxury prices. Meanwhile, resale condos, actually livable units, never came close to those price levels. The product didn't match the market. And then the Bank of Canada raised interest rates 7 times starting in 2022. And investors who made up about 50% of the new condo buyers at the peak of the market essentially disappeared overnight. Their share of the market has dropped from 50% down to roughly 7%. When that demand left, it left fast and it left behind a lot of empty buildings. And now this is what developers are doing to survive. And it is actually creating an opportunity most buyers are missing. So what are developers doing now? Because they are not just sitting there hoping prices recover. Some are cancelling projects entirely. Deposits are being refunded. Marketing centers are shutting down. Sites are getting foreclosed. Others are pivoting hard to purpose-built rentals because it is easier right now to get financing for rentals than for the condo sales. And cities are actively pushing for them. And the ones sitting on completed inventory are getting creative. Free parking, free storage, 12 to 24 months rate buy downs, cash back on completion, incentives we haven't seen since the early 2000s. But the most telling move, and this is one the media isn't even covering, is the bulk sales. Developers who have been holding on, hoping prices would recover, are starting to cut deals, big deals, taking a 50 to 20% loss upfront, sell everything to one buyer, close in 30 days, stop the bleeding. As one developer says, forget it. We'll take a bigger loss, but I won't be stuck dealing with this for 2 years. That's not strategy, that is survival. And here's the thing that actually made me sit up. The biggest example, a Surrey flash sale, 25% off, sold out every remaining units in 48 hours. 48 hours only, guys. So buyers aren't gone. They are just waiting for the right number. When the price hits the right level, they show up fast. Now here's something I want you to think about, because this is the thing most people aren't thinking about. Right now we are on a standoff. Developers on one side, buyers on the other. Developers can't drop prices too far, because if they do, they risk breaching their loan covenants. It will trigger the appraisals that blow up their financing, which will destroy the pro forma on the entire project. Some of them are stuck. They literally can't offer the discount. They have to sell the units without killing a deal with their lender. On the other side, buyers are watching. They see that resale condos are offering better layouts, better value, lower cost per square feet. They are not wrong. For most first-time buyers right now, the resale market is generally a better buy than a new pre-sale. This is the part I really want you to stay for, because buried inside everything I have just described is an opportunity, and it is the one most people in this market aren't paying attention. Here's the thing about watching this from the sidelines in Surrey or Langley right now. If you are a buyer, a condo buyer specifically, you have more leverage than at any single point in the last 10 plus years. More than I've seen in my entire career. And here's how to play it. Focus on completed inventory. Do not spend your time on pre-sales launching today. The real discounts are on units that are already built, already sitting, already costing the developer carrying cost every single month. Property taxes, insurance, strata fees, financing costs. Every month that unit sits empty, the meter is running with zero income coming in the developer's pocket. That's your negotiating leverage. So what can you ask for? Price reductions, closing credits, upgrades, lower deposits, rate guarantees, assignment flexibilities, things that were completely off the table 2 or 3 years ago. And some developers, not all, but some, will say yes, because sold inventory is better than unsold inventory every single time. What I would avoid right now is brand new pre-sale launches. Some are offering incentives, an extra parking spot, an upgraded appliance package, but it is not the same as the leverage you have on a completed unit sitting vacant right now. Now here's the part of the story that almost nobody is connecting, and it matters whether you are buying, selling, or just watching. In February 2026, only 64 new pre-sale homes launched across all of Greater Vancouver and the Fraser Valley. In a normal February, you would expect more than 1,100 units to hit the market. February came in at about 6% of that. In Q1 of 2026, there were 0 concrete high-rise launches in Metro Vancouver. 0. The same quarter a year earlier had 152. Construction has basically stopped, And when construction stops, the pipeline for future supply stops along with it. Here's why that matters for you. The oversupply we are dealing with today, that's the 2022 to 2022 building boom, completing all at once into a market that doesn't want them. But those are the last buildings for a while because new towers aren't starting, which means in 2027, 2028 and 2029, when demand comes back, there isn't going to be a lot of new supply to meet it. Sophisticated buyers who understand real estate cycles are looking at bulk sales at 15 to 20% below asking. Because construction activity has fallen off a cliff, there's a real argument that the supply shortage of 2028 and 2029 is already being built up in these deals today. The window to buy at the bottom doesn't stay open long enough. It never does. So here's where we actually are, and I'll be straight with you. The condo market is not at its floor yet. Inventory is still elevated. Pre-sale buyers who got caught in 2022 peaks are still working through the damage. They are facing losses of 100,000 to 500,000 or more as units complete into this softer 2026 market. The bulk sales, as uncomfortable as they are actually a sign the market is clearing. Developers who have been holding on, hoping for the recovery, are starting to accept reality. That acceptance, as painful as it is usually what happens near the bottom of a cycle, not in the middle of a free fall. If you're a first-time buyer, an investor, or someone who owns a condo and is wondering what happens next, this is the moment to get clear on where you actually stand. Not based on what your neighbor thinks, not based on what your place was actually worth in 2022, based on what's actually happening right now in your specific market. That's exactly what I do when someone reaches out for a consultation. I'll give you a real feedback. What's selling, what's sitting, what strategy actually makes sense for your situation today. No obligations, just clarity. You can book a free call right now. The link is in the description below. Or you can call me directly at 778-234-2000.